is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
The year was 1993. Baseball had arrived in South Florida. And that same year, in Denver, EY was a mile high. Well, a lot has changed since. Tonight, the big boppers for both teams are front and center. A four-gamer starts tonight. It's Miami and Colorado. Good to be back home for the Miami Marlins, and waiting for them, an offensive machine. The Colorado Rockies and the Marlins will play a wraparound series that starts tonight on a Friday night here in Miami and ends on a Monday. 4 games, Rockies and Marlins. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Jeff Conine. If you like offense, and I know you do, this is a great series. I mean, the Rockies batting average, slugging, home runs, runs. And, of course, the Marlins have been a good offensive team as well.
Very good. Colorado Rockies are a unique team. They're a little bit different on the road as they are as Coors Field, as we know. It's a hitter's paradise there. The Marlins right now third in the National League as far as batting average is concerned. Could be some offensive fireworks this weekend. This was supposed to be a Jose Fernandez start, but the Marlins are skipping him. He'll resume on Tuesday against the Braves. The spotlight's on Adam Conley, and he's been up and down. He's had some great outings. Last time out, he got knocked around. Got knocked around a little bit. The first 5 starts of his year this year with the Miami Marlins was outstanding. The last 4 or 5 starts have not been as good. A lot of walks, a lot of hit batters. So that whip has gone up quite a bit his last 5 starts. We'll see if he can get back in the strike zone tonight. And quickly, Giancarlo Stanton is in the lineup. What do you expect from him tonight? It's going to be a slow progression, I think, for Giancarlo Stanton. He's coming out of his funk, I think. You see him take some good at-bats on the road, especially in San Diego. So hopefully we'll get on the right track here against the Rockies this weekend. Obviously, the entire state and the entire country still reeling from the events in Orlando. Let's go down to the field right now.
Those who have passed and have been affected by this tragedy. To all of their families, friends, and loved ones, our thoughts are with you. We ask that you join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. And performing the Star Spangled Banner for us this evening is Eileen Cruz.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
thank you to Eileen Cruz. Here are the umpires for tonight's game. At first base, Jerry Meals. Second base, Sean Barber. At third base,
nicely
Ron
done
Kulpa.
there
And at home plate,
on
calling
the
the balls and strikes,
national
Chris
anthem.
Conroy.
And of course, the Marlins return home. What a road trip it was for the 42-year-old wonder, for Ichiro, who hit in every city. And in San Diego on that last day, 2 historic hits. One to tie Pete Rose's total and one to pass Pete Rose's total. A double in the right field corner.
Well, you talked to him about the first hit that he had was the swinging bunt, but he liked that he had a legit double there to actually surpass Pete Rose.
Let's go back down to the field.
The same number of Pete Rose's all-time record. Here's a line drive down the right field line into the corner. Ichiro's got an extra base hit. Ichiro keeps the Marlins' hopes alive with a big double down the right field line. So now for Ichiro, 4,257 hits. And Ichiro takes his batting helmet off and thanks the crowd. A standing ovation.
Please direct your attention to behind home plate, where President of Baseball Operations Michael Hill is presenting Ichiro Suzuki with a base from the double he hit on Wednesday to collect his 4,257th hit in his professional baseball career. Let's hear it for this amazing milestone for Ichiro Suzuki.
42-56.
And a nice moment there. Ichiro with the bag from San Diego. It's the Rockies and it's the Marlins. And it's game 1. And it starts in moments. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Subaru of Pembroke Pines, price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. Marlins and Rockies ready to go. They started in '93. Got some big bats in this series. And we'll roll them out when we return. Is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Rockies and Marlins. Rockies lineup. And it's brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
How about let's lead off with Charlie Blackmon, second base DJ LeMahieu. Cargo, right field, Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado at third base. Trevor Story, quite a story this year. Ryan Rayburn in left field. First base is Mark Reynolds, a veteran. Catcher Nick Hundley, and on the mound, pitcher John Gray.
Adam Conley with a fastball for a strike to Charlie Blackmon. Conley will try to navigate his way through this buzzsaw of a lineup. Start number 14 for the lanky lefty out of Washington State. And a look at one of the better beards in the National League. Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, and then Carlos Gonzalez to follow. A pop-up on the infield. And Prado makes the catch. Miami defensively for the opener of this 4-game set. Line up this way. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Christian Yelich, Marcell Ozuna, Giancarlo Stanton in right. Martin Prado and Justin Bour in the corners. Adeiny Echeverria, Derek Dietrich up the middle. JT Realmuto is behind home plate. And here is LeMahieu, the Rockies' second baseman. If you are into numbers, well, the Colorado Rockies are the team for you. Just about every one of the Rockies from the 1 on down are slugging either at or above 500. Have an on-base percentage in the high 300s. And it has fueled an offense that is second in the majors in average, second in slugging, second in extra base hits. And LeMahieu's part of that. A 388 on base, a 498 slug, 18 doubles, 4 triples. Yeah, they hit a lot of triples in Colorado.
A lot of extra base hits in Colorado. When you look at the Rockies as a whole, as far as team-wise, 274 average, paces the National League, 464 slugging as a team, 333 on base percentage. So OPS, they're #1 as well.
Carlos Gonzalez right behind. Now, some of you may be saying, all right, so slugging percentage, on base percentage, is 500 good? Is high 300s good? Well, the average batting average in the National League is 251. The average on base is only 319, and the average slug is 406. So if you're 500 in slugging, you're doing damage. If you're high 300s and on base, you're on base a lot. Crank to center. Ozuna is there, and he makes the catch. And of course, this is a Rocky team, Jeff, that is hot right now. They've won 8 of 10 and 4 in a row.
And it's been about that offense, and they are absolutely on fire offensively. This middle of the lineup is one of the better you're going to see in the National League, with Carlos Gonzalez here, Arenado, Trevor Story. What a great story he has been as a rookie this year, leading in a lot of offensive categories as far as rookies are concerned.
Here's Carlos Gonzalez, one of the longer tenured Rockies. It's an organization that traditionally keeps its core together, and a lot of these guys have been together. Blackman, LeMahieu, Arenado, Gonzalez. Of course, there's no Tulowitzki. He was dealt last year, but Story has stepped in and filled that void offensively. Good pitch there on the outside corner from Conley.
And this is what we hope to see by Adam Conley tonight, is in the strike zone consistently with strikes. He's been struggling with control a bit the last few starts.
It's a short around it. Echeverria. Wow, bang, bang. And he's out. Rockies will probably look at it. But a nice play by Etch. And Adam Conley goes 1, 2, 3 in the first. Gamer is the Rockies and the Marlins, starting on a Friday night here in Miami. That would be Derek Dietrich. This would be Miami's lineup, and it's brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
And as you said, Derek Dietrich leads it off. Martin Prado hitting second at 331. Christian Yelich with a 6-game home hitting streak and a 458 average. Marcell Ozuna in the cleanup spot. Giancarlo Stanton behind him in number 5. Justin Bour at first base. JT Realmuto catching, Adeiny Hechavarria shortstop, and Adam Conley on the mound.
John Gray at 6'4", 234 is a tall Oklahoman. He was an Oklahoma Sooner and the 3rd overall pick just a few years ago, and he can throw hard, 94 with a fastball. This is the top pitching prospect for the Rockies, and he has arrived. He's 4-2. His ERA at 4.70. Right-hander's been really good his last 4 starts. His fastball up to Dietrich. Martin Prado, Christian Yelich will follow. Dietrich popped in the foot. The 10th time he's been hit this year. Don Mattingly had him out of the lineup on Wednesday with an off day on Thursday. So a couple of days for Dietrich to feel a little bit better. I asked him, I said, Derek, how's the foot? He said, well, the foot, the wrist, the head.
I was going to say, Dietrich is that guy this year. He's got a magnet, a ball magnet all over his body. Like you said, he got the ricochet off the head in Atlanta. Last homestand, he got really, I thought it was going to be a broken wrist, possibly a drilled on a fastball, the back wrist. And then, like you said, off the foot in San Diego. So a little banged up, but he's still in there.
Fastball misses out. Dietrich in there with the right-hander on the mound. Justin Bour in the lineup as well. And of course, Giancarlo Stanton making the start and hitting 5th tonight. Dietrich fouls it. It will be interesting to watch the Rockies defensively in this series. The Marlins just came from San Diego, where the Padres are as aggressive and progressive with their defensive shifts. The Rockies are very much like that. You can see them move here. Many teams are now shifting by count. And by count, the Rockies are really swung over against Dietrich. The pops one to center, hits it pretty well. Blackman goes back at the track, and he reaches up and makes the catch. That's a 405-foot out off the bat of Derek Dietrich. Rockies middle of the pack defensively, but they've got some gold around that defense. Southwest Airlines brings it to you. Ryan Rayburn in left, Charlie Blackman in center. Cargo has some gold gloves. Nolan Arenado is maybe the best defender in the game. Trevor Story's at short. LeMahieu a gold glove winner as well. Mark Reynolds at first. Nick Hundley is behind the plate. And Prado up now. And he takes a strike.
You mentioned, Rich, before the game started, you thought that maybe Noah Syndergaard was on the mound, but it is actually John Gray, but he looks very similar. He kind of got the same type of build and similar stuff, maybe not quite as high a fastball as far as velocity is concerned, but we're going to see mid to upper 90s from John Gray in his fastball.
Boy, the Rockies really could use an infusion of good young pitching. It's one of the hardest things to develop in the game, and it especially has been hard for Colorado to develop it. Pitching at altitude's not easy. In fact, the Rockies pitching staff, their ERA on the road is over 6. Or excuse me, their ERA at home is over 6. On the road, it's 3.63.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers at Coors Field or Mile High Stadium prior to that, the disparities between home and away have always been very great. You see the pitchers at home give up a lot of runs, much lower on the road. Batting averages at home are very high, a lot of power output at home, and they drop considerably on the road.
Martin Prado, a terrific road trip. 18 hits for Prado, and he sends that one over to DJ LeMahieu. And John Gray has the first 2 outs of the first inning. And that brings up Christian Yelich. Yelich climbs in, 317 average, on base at a 402 clip. He's still top 10 in the National League in that, and slugging close to 500 at 491. 19 doubles for Yelich this year to go with those 5 homers. The changeup misses out. Chris Conroy calling balls and strikes. Jerry Meals, Sean Barber, Ron Culpa. Nolan Arenado and Christian Yelich playing on the same travel team in high school, so they know each other quite well. They came from the same area, and just as Yelich is starting to ascend into the upper echelon of major league players, Arenado made that ascension last year. Gray with a fastball and a strike.
Yeah, pretty remarkable what he's done in his career at third base for the Rockies. 89 extra base hits last year, the first time ever that a third baseman has had that many extra base hits in a major league season.
Arenado from Newport Beach, and of course his glove when he got to the big leagues was gold. His 3 years in the big leagues, he's won a Gold Glove in each of those years. Yelich a Gold Glover in 2014. Fastball misses away. And a full count. Here's your fielding percentage. That one way to slice it, the difference between Arenado and Prado is range factor, zone rating. Flip to left. Rayburn is there and makes the catch. John Gray looks strong, scoreless first for both sides.
Marlins Béisbol es presentado.
Taste of Miami going strong on a Friday night in Miami. The Rockies and the Marlins are scoreless.
I'm a little hungry right now. I think I could use one of those.
Fastball a strike. Now, many of you know him as Nolan Arenado, and for the first 4 years in the big leagues, that's how everybody referred to him, Nolan Arenado. He was asked to do a public service voiceover for the Denver airport. Swing and a miss at a changeup, and in it he said, "This is Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies." And all the Rockies fans and the Rockies themselves said, "What?
That's not the way you pronounce it."
Right. And Arenado said, "You know what? That's the way we pronounce it. I just haven't told anybody that." So you got to like guys like that. They get to the big leagues and they're just happy to be in the big leagues. If someone's mispronouncing their name, it's no worries. I'll hang with it. A lot like Giancarlo Stanton. Remember, he arrived as Mike, but his real name was Giancarlo. He went to Mike when his classmates in 4th and 5th grade couldn't pronounce Giancarlo. And Stanton finally said, "You know, I'd like to be called by my real name, which is Giancarlo." Well, now it's Nolan Arenado. Here's a 1-2.
And we are here to set the record straight.
That's right. And those of you that are flying into Denver, you'll hear that when you're on that long train that goes from from terminal to terminal. 2-2 coming to Arenado. And to the bat, and he pops it foul and out of play. The year he's having is just stunning right now. He has blossomed into an offensive juggernaut. 13 doubles, 20 homers, tied for the major league lead, 57 runs driven in. He's slugging close to 600, 593. That's good.
That's an understatement. That's very good. and Nolan Arenado, one of the few guys that you see in Colorado that don't have absurdly skewed numbers as far as Coors Field is concerned. Last year actually hit more home runs on the road than he did at Coors Field.
Good sharp breaking ball, and that's a great illustration of why Adam Conley is tougher against righties than he is against lefties.
Yeah, this is the equalizer pitch from that left-handed side, that down and in slider. You look at the bite on this thing as it goes down and into a right-handed hitter on that back foot. Arenado swings right over the top of it, and as you said, that's kind of that equalizer pitch that gives him a better strikeout ratio and a better lower batting average against right-handers versus lefties.
For many of you, this is what a Trevor Story looks like. You've been reading about him and seeing highlights of him, and here he is. 45th overall pick in 2011. Out of Irving, Texas. He was headed to LSU, but signed, and seemingly has blossomed at the big league level in terms of power. He's having obviously a rookie of the year type season right now. Another changeup and a beauty. Bohr going back, and he's got it. Two outs, and here's Ryan Rayburn. All-Star voting. Hop on the 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Go to Marlins.com. Click on the All-Star icon, and away you go. You can vote up to 35 times through June 30th at Marlins.com on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Help select the starting lineups for the 2016 All-Star Game at Petco Park. You'll get a big foam finger and a 20-ounce beer. No, you won't really. It's hard to do that over the internet to send the foam finger and the beer.
I'll tell you what, though, there's a lot of deserving all-stars on this Marlins team this year. Yelich, Prado, Ozuna, Jose Fernandez. I mean, a lot of good stories, a lot of exceptional performances so far in this young season. A.J.
Ramos, certainly David Phelps. I think key for the Marlins is to play well now through the early part of July when the reserves are selected, voted on by the players, and then the managers and the league. Another changeup, another strikeout. Ozuna and Giancarlo. Justin Bohr coming up. They are on sale now. The 2016 Fantasy Auction Pledge Packs. You can do it by phone at 305-480-2550 or go to Marlins.com/pledge pack and look at the cool stuff in there. Don Mattingly autographed baseball. Jeff Conine autographed bobblehead. Billy McFly Back to the Future bobblehead. Fox Sports 1 beach towel, Tommy Bahama cap, voucher for 4 Marlins tickets, and a cap from the Marlins team store, either in red, orange, or in black. $175 is the donation, and they're on sale now. Go to marlins.com/pledgepack. The phone number is there as well, 305-480-2550. Operators standing by. Here's Marcell Ozuna. Takes a fastball that runs away. It's a ball and a strike.
And they go quickly, right, Rich? I mean, this has been a sellout the last few years for sure.
They have always sold out. They usually sell out within 2 to 3 days. The next 2 days is when you can buy them by phone, just for 2 days. And with the generosity shown by Don Mattingly, by yourself to sign the bobbleheads, all terrific things in the pledge packs this year. Got some nice items from Ford as well, a racing valuables pouch. Apparently that's the pouch, you know, like when you play golf, you put your stuff in a valuables pouch. When the Ford drivers are driving in NASCAR, before they get in, they put their valuables in the Ford valuables pouch. And a flash drive is in there for you as well. So all yours. They're on sale now. And of course, all of that money goes to the Marlins Foundation, Marlins Education Fund, and kids here in South Florida. It's all leading up to next Thursday, the fantasy auction. Ozuna takes in from John Gray. And the count full at 3-2.
Yeah, big kudos to you, Rich, for all the work you do on the fantasy auction and everybody on that night in next Thursday. It's a great night and raise a lot of money for charity here at Marlins Park.
Fastball is up. Did I have the count wrong? I must. The scoreboard has 3-2, and we have 3-2. Ozuna had the count wrong, and maybe, you know what? Maybe the umpire had it wrong, and that's why Ozuna had it wrong. And right now, Nick Hundley and Chris Conroy, the home plate umpire, discussing it. And so Ozuna walks, and here is Stanton, and this certainly. The umpire did have it wrong.
He did have it right. Or wrong.
Pitch to Stanton. Was that shot before or after the last pitch thrown? That was before the pitch, and then ball 4 came. So Stanton digs in, 1-0 pitch coming.
Sometimes, Rich, you just get so locked in up there you don't even know what the count is. I want to hit. I don't want to walk.
Well, the big question is, how does Giancarlo Stanton not get locked in, but get back in?
I think you try and walk before you run. So when you look at bats, take some pitches. Maybe try to go to right field. Try to look for that single instead of trying to hit it out of the ballpark or out of the stadium. Every time you come up there, I think especially for Giancarlo, you think of power, you think of home runs, and that's the way he's going to get out of it. But I think that the way he gets out of it is starting from the right side of the field and working his way over, and that's the way you keep that front side closed and you make progress.
Well, he's identified pitches quite well here. Hasn't chased. It's 3-0. When he does come out of it, it's usually a few walks, a few line drives, and then he's back. But it's been a long wait, and nobody has been at it harder than he has. Fastball for a strike. It's 3-1.
So when you relax and you take pitches like that and you're able to track it all the way with your eyes, that's when you start getting your timing down. When I think we've seen a lot of panicked swings from Stanton as of late. You're trying to rush it up there, and that's when you get into big problems mechanically.
Slider that comes across for a strike. Stanton looks back at the home plate umpire. It is a strike. It's on the plate and just under the letters.
Well, it looks high when you look at it on a replay as far as live is concerned, but Fox Tracks had it in the strike zone.
And he chases. Slider down and away, and Stanton strikes out. Scouting report on this big right-hander out of Shawnee, Oklahoma is brought to you by Auto Nation.
Yeah, you can see there he can rush it up there big time. We've seen mid-90s on the fastball, can get in the upper 90s as far as velocity is concerned. Third and 2013, so he's the third overall pick by the Rockies, and a Boomer Sooner.
That's
Oklahoma,
right.
University of Oklahoma, All-American.
All-American.
Looks like he could have been a football player too. Pretty big guy.
Justin Bour, with Ozuna still at first. Now the Rockies defensively right now look like they're playing a zone defense, don't they? I mean, it's an I have not seen the Rocky or a defense do this to Bour, and that is bunch everybody up the middle, leave the right side open, the runners at first baseman holding. They kind of leaving the corners open and playing a zone up the middle.
Yeah, like you said, the Rockies, one of the teams that will do this more often than most, with unique shifts, and we have not seen this one with Justin Bour at the plate. Leaves a huge hole there between first and second on the right side of the infield.
There's a strike. We've seen Justin Bour spray balls in all directions. And in San Diego, he really crossed up the Padres, shooting 4 balls to the left side against an extreme shift by San Diego. But the Padres pitched him outside, which was the curious thing. Bour fouls that one off, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, look at that hit chart right there. It's almost dead even from left to center to right all around the baseball field.
And what that does not differentiate is balls in the air and balls on the ground, which are different for a lot of hitters. They'll pull balls on the ground and then hit balls in the air the other way. But Bour seems to do a little of both. There's a line shot. It's foul. And it's 2-2.
It's good running fastball on the outside corner. Bour goes with it. A little bit late though, sits it in the left field stands.
Gray has good strikeout numbers, 69 of them in 60 innings.
And like, you know, the likenesses to Syndergaard, not only physically, but only 18 walks in 60 innings as well. With a power arm like that, with that kind of velocity in the fastball, pretty good control numbers.
Bour into right. That's a hit. Ozuna to second, and he'll hold there. Gonzalez has a great arm in right. And the Marlins go station to station with 1 out, runners first and second.
Yeah, you look at the shift like we were talking about, bunching it up the middle here. See a huge hole here on the right-hand side of the field. And Justin Bour, like we've seen so many times on off-speed pitches, use that nice wristy handsy swing to pop a good line drive ground ball through the right side of the infield.
Now if that had been against the San Diego defense, they would have had a guy there. But the Rockies were bunching up the middle. Of course, against the San Diego defense, Bour hit everything to left field. Real Muto now, JT in the 7 spot, just a hair under 300 on the season. And Nick Hundley's on his way out to talk to his starting pitcher, John Gray. Lenny Harris surveying the scene. Real Muto, then Echeverria, and then the pitcher spot. There's 1 out here. Rockies infield looks for 2. Gray misses with a slider. Not a big sample size, but success against the Rockies in his career. JT takes down. He had a 4-for-4 game in Denver. That certainly helped his numbers. Good road trip for Real Muto. 9 for 31. A homer, a double. Scored 5 runs. Doubled up on the slider, and it's 2-1.
You look at his progression as far as offensively. Last year he got called up probably sooner than the Marlins would have liked to, just because of the Saltalamacchia situation. He gets behind the plate, has to have a lot on his plate, so to speak. Got to command a big league pitching staff and worry about his offense. This year he's come a long way, hitting almost 300 in the mid-June.
Certainly there were some rough patches last year, but I think the positive is here he is, a year older, a year wiser, and if Jared Saltalamacchia, say, had hit even a little bit, Real Muto would have played some maybe later in the year. But now the Marlins have the benefit of a year of experience. Real Muto is certainly better behind the plate. He's better at the plate. And the Marlins have that now here in 2016. Whereas this could have been the learning year.
Absolutely, Rich. There's no way to simulate big game or big league game experience, and he was thrust in the fire and got that experience at the big league level. You know, you can go to the minor leagues and it's more about development down there than it is here in the big leagues. So it was invaluable for him to come up, even though it was a little bit earlier than they expected, but it was invaluable for him to come up last year and get the experience that he did.
Full count, 1 out. Second and third. Ozuna out at second, not running. Real Muto stays alive and just gets a piece.
Well, I was about to say, you know, you look at Syndergaard and his fastball in the mid-90s, and his slider has been documented high 80s, low 90s. John Gray's got a slider that's averaging about 88 to 89 miles an hour right now. That one was 91.
One difference between the two, Gray has a really good move and is great with his feet. Is hard to run on. Just 2 stolen bases in 10 starts. Popped up, third base side. Arenado has it. And so Gray gets the second out. And it's up to Danny Echeverria if the Marlins are going to squeeze something out of this inning.
A lot of times when you see a cut fastball at that kind of velocity, 89, 90, 91 miles an hour, it's got a very slight movement. Where Gray has thrown, it's a legit slider that's got really good movement at that velocity.
Echeverria takes a strike. See, we don't need Fox tracks. We just need to show Billy's reaction to the pitch. Very unscientific, but you know, it works. And Echeverria tied up by a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and Gray's got him 0-2. Etch in the 8th spot. 8 hits on the road trip. He had that big ball game in which he had a double and a triple and drove in 4.
Has raised his average up to 247, 291 in the last 29 games for Etch.
A punch out there, and Miami leads through 2 scoreless. flips. You know him, you love him. Well, some of you do. But how can you not like this guy in Korea? Epic bat flip. Look at that. A serial flipper. And you could win a trip to the All-Star game. If you've got a great bat flip, send yours video-wise. Hashtag it Fox Bat Flip Contest. And the best bat flip winner goes to the All-Star game in San Diego. Just go to foxsports.com/batflip. foxsports.com/batflip. And the two pitchers tonight, Adam Conley and John Gray, trying to prevent any bat flips from busting out. Mark Reynolds has hit some long home runs in his career. Takes down low. Nick Hundley and then John Gray, the pitcher. Conley has retired all 6 that he's faced. Reynolds has been kind of a hired gun the last 3 or 4 years. After starting his career out in Arizona, he was a Cardinal last year. Before that, a Brewer. Before that, a Yankee. Before that, an Indian. And his best years in Arizona and in Baltimore. Lines it to left. Yelich back and there, and he runs it down. Yelich, to me, if you wanted to project him into another sport, would be a really good either wide receiver, or if you're looking for a smaller tight end to flex out, because his speed, he's got the long strides, and once he gets going, he runs a lot of things down that you don't think he's going to off the bat.
It's a sneaky speed, so it doesn't look like he's really moving that quickly because of that long stride. But if you were to ask Christian Yelich what he'd be good at other than baseball, he would say nothing. He's like, Niner, I can hit a baseball. I can't do anything else. Like when you look at the ping pong table in the room there in spring training. Nope, I can't play ping pong. I can hit a baseball. And he goes, that's pretty much my forte. I can't do a whole lot of other things as far as athletics is concerned.
Well, he has that athletic background in his family. It's a bouncer. Prado spinning, throwing. And he gets Nick Hundley for the second out. Of course, Yelich's grandfather was a Ram, as in a football Ram. In fact, holds the distinction of designing the Rams logo.
Really?
Yeah, back in the 40s, his grandfather, a player for the Rams, designed the logo that went on the Rams helmet that is used now, that little curly ram.
Yeah, did not know that.
The team went to Los Angeles, then back to St. Louis, now back to Los Angeles. He also was the first player to wear a face mask. And he invented it because he kept getting his nose broken. He was tired of getting his nose broken.
I was gonna say that was probably a pretty obvious invention, to not get your face smashed in football.
And I asked him about a month ago if he was going to get Rams season tickets, and he thought about it. He said, maybe. That might be, I think a lot of people in Los Angeles are thinking about that for the first time in a long time.
Well, it's pretty amazing. I grew up out there, obviously, in the Rams. We went to a few Rams games, and the Raiders were there when I was growing up. And when you think about Los Angeles not having a professional football team, it's pretty mind-boggling. They haven't had one for 20 years now.
And they've got a great logo on their helmet thanks to Yelich's grandfather. That one trickles down the third base line, foul. John Gray is up. Adam Conley's retired all 8 he's faced.
We spoke about the onset on Conley being more effective in the strike zone. Right now, 37 total pitches and 26 of those strikes. With a good changeup right there to get John Gray.
3 strikeouts for Conley, scoreless here in Miami.
Your pledge pack this year. A Fox Sports 1 beach towel for your days at the beach here in Miami. And because you need some shade, we got a Tommy Bahama hat that you can wear at the beach to shade your face. And a Don Mattingly authenticated autographed baseball. Donnie Baseball, come on. And we have a Marlins cap, fitted Marlins cap, your choice of orange or black. Look at this. Billy's holding a ticket to a Marlins game. You get 4 of them to any Marlins game. We have a MLB Network bag so you can put all of your goodies into. And look at this. Maybe the second best bobblehead in this pack is a Billy McFly bobblehead. See the resemblance there? And last but not least, maybe the giveaway of the year, a Jeff Conine bobblehead. Autographed by yours truly. Get your pledge packs now, folks. They're going to go out quickly.
Well done, Niner. And that's an authenticated. The authenticator was there for you signing those 200 bobbleheads.
Yes, very authentic.
And if people are wondering what an authenticator is, it's the Major League authenticator that the Marlins and every Major League team uses for any signed memorabilia or game-used equipment. The authenticator will attach a hologram, a Major League hologram, and actually record the date and the time and the hologram number so that it is authentic. And that's what the Don Mattingly baseballs and the Jeff Conine bobbleheads.
I've seen them in the dugouts here at Marlins Park in spring training. If a broken bat or something comes off the field, or a special ball comes off the field, you see them put that sticker on it right away, record it, and know that it is an authentic piece of Major League memorabilia that you're getting.
Busted bat, and it lands right behind the mound. Dietrich's got himself a hit, and they'll have to authenticate that broken bat.
Say, on cue, that bat will be authenticated as it goes back in the dugout, because Derek Dietrich will not be using that anymore. But it died a hero, as we say. About a 100-foot base hit there right in the middle of the field. Gets sawed off, but throws it out there perfectly. And regardless of what any Major Leaguer will say, we'll take 100 of those during the course of a year.
Now Dietrich in this series will be competing not only against the Rockies, but he'll be competing against his old college roommate. There's the authenticator going about his authenticating.
That's the bat that Derek Dietrich just shattered. Thank goodness it stayed in one piece, so to speak, and he's going down there to authenticate that, put the hologram on it, so whoever does get that bat knows that it was Derek Dietrich's bat.
Prado 0 for 1. Dietrich away from first. Yeah, Dietrich. Oh yes, there's the stickers. He's writing it down. Dietrich's college roommate is in center field, not in the seats watching the game. He's in center field playing for the Rockies. Charlie Blackmon. Those two were teammates and roommates at Georgia Tech.
Pretty cool. I mean, if you didn't have a sibling that was actually playing in the big leagues with you, to have a roommate in college would probably be the next best thing.
Ball in the dirt from John Gray. If you're just tuning in, it's the Marlins and the Rockies, and the Rockies come in like a heavyweight fighter with gaudy offensive numbers up and down their lineup. They have scored a ton of runs, done a ton of damage. The Marlins themselves have swung the bats very well this year. It's a 4-game series that starts tonight. John Gray, young fireballer, and there's the quick feet we talked about. He's tough to run on, just 2 stolen bases and only 4 attempts.
Very quick to the plate. When you get a guy that's as quick to the plate as he is, in the low ones, 1.1 to 1.2 seconds to home plate, you're not going to get many attempts, even though, or regardless of stolen bases, they're not even going to try.
That pitch has been effective for Gray, sort of a slider slash cutter against right-handed hitters that comes in the front door.
There's that rotation on that cutter slider that he has, and it's talking to upper 80s, low 90s pitch. That's pretty hard for a pitch that moves that much.
Gray's given up 2 hits, the Dietrich single and a Justin Bour single. And Prado pops this one up. LeMahieu, former Gold Glover, makes the catch. And there are 2 outs, and up comes Yelich. And the Rockies are all of a sudden just a game under 500. This run that they've had, winning 8 of 10 and 4 straight, has brought them up the ladder in the National League West. They're 8 back of San Francisco, who's red hot. Walt Weiss's ball club is just a game and a half behind the Dodgers.
Former teammate of mine, Walt Weiss, original Marlin.
That's right, 1993. Weiss played in 158 games, coming off his nice run in Oakland. Hit .266 that year.
You realize how old you are now. We just got back from a trip to Wisconsin to see our buddy Renee Latchman. I mean, is there anybody better in the big leagues in baseball than Renee Latchman? I love that guy.
He was your manager in '93.
Indeed. Just a baseball lifer, knowledgeable, great guy to have around your coaching staff and clubhouse.
Yelich cranks that one. Nice play by LeMahieu, and on his knees he'll throw out Yelich. Both pitchers are sharp, scoreless into the 4th.
Park as we go to the top of the 4th inning. No score in the ball game yet. Our Geico, this date in Marlins history. 12 years ago, it was June 17th, 2004. Marlins White Sox, our old pal Matt Trainer with the walk-off base hit. Driving in tomorrow's honoree Luis Castillo in a great moment in that regular season for the Marlins. Also some June 17th factoids for you that we dug up. The Marlins that are sitting with a record of 34 and 32 are over 500 for the 8th time in Marlins history. They've been below 500 on this date 15 times, including, as you see that great moment, back in 2003. Your world champions were under 500 on this date, and at 500 one time, 2002. Our Geico moment in Marlins history. You see Mike Lowell, whoa, Carl Pavano, among others, getting in on that celebration, guys.
I think I spotted Jeff Conine in that celebration. That was a sweet moment. I mean, Matt Trainer toiled long and hard in the minor leagues before he really got a shot in the big leagues. Charlie Blackmon lifts that one to center. Ozuna eyes it and has it.
Yeah, Train, one of the truly most grateful guys I ever played with, as far as being able to play in the big leagues for as long as he did. Married Misty May, gold medalist, volleyball player.
Trainer spent 10 years in the minor leagues, 7 of them in Single A, before making his major league debut in that 2004 season on June 2nd against the Reds. He was 1 for 3 that night. That was his first major league RBI, that hit you just saw. DJ LeMahieu's up. Adam Conley so far has retired all 10 he's faced and struck out 3. LeMahieu lined out to Ozuna in center. He and Mark Reynolds had the hardest hit balls against Conley tonight.
Look at the way Adam Conley's working tonight. He's got that good quick rhythm that everyone on defense loves to have a guy like Adam Conley pitching, because he just grabs the ball, gets a sign, and throws it home.
That one flipped up into the seats. Full count, 3-2.
Still very good strike to ball ratio right now for Adam Conley. We talked about how important it is for him to be effective in the strike zone. See LeMahieu call time there because of the way that Conley is working very quickly.
Adam unique in that he starts his windup with that foot already sideways. That one fouled at the plate. LeMahieu goes down. Count stays at 3-2. Both these teams trying to bounce back from disappointing years last year. The Rockies won just 68 games last year. Their last winning season was all the way back in 2010. And LeMahieu walks. Well, tomorrow, game 2 of the series. Remember, it's a 4:10 start and it's an all-star Saturday. That means Louis Castillo bobblehead day, or night, depending on what you think, at 4 o'clock, courtesy of Goya. And you can get the all-you-can-eat seats for just $28. Go to marlins.com. Louis in the house.
Sweet Lou, 35-game hitting streak.
Louis on the telecast tomorrow night as well. Carlos Gonzalez takes a strike. So I think people in Colorado are excited about this ball club. All of a sudden they're knocking at 500's door. 32-33. I think what has to have people enthusiastic, optimistic, whatever word you want, is that this Rockies team right now is a 500 team on the road. In the years that they've struggled over the last 5 years, their home road splits in terms of record has been lopsided. Good at home, no bueno on the road.
That's kind of the allure, or the, I don't know what you call it, at Coors Field. They used to flash on that big board out in center field that it's never over at Coors Field, because electric things happen there offensively. And from the old Blake Street Bombers back with Dante Bichette and Andres Galarraga, and it's always been an offensive built team with that light air at Coors Field. Kind of been tough to get a good pitching to commit to play in Colorado.
Well, this guy, as you pointed out, not really bothered by the home road splits in Carlos Gonzalez. That strike 3 call. Gonzalez didn't like it. You could hear him and see him spin out of there. That's 4 strikeouts for Conley now.
Just there at Fox Track, you see right on the edge. Good pitch by Adam Conley.
This is a timely note. It's a Coors Light cold hard fact. This is what the Rockies have done in those 10 games in which they've won 8. See the runs. Importantly, look at the ERA. 3.31. And they've clubbed 15 home runs. Arenado himself has 20 home runs. Arenado hit his 20th homer on Wednesday against the Yankees. The Rockies sweeping the Yankees in Denver. The last Rocky to have 20 homers with this few of at bats was 2001, Todd Helton. A strikeout of Arenado in the second. He's only punched out 30 times to go with 29 walks.
And that's 250 at bats. That's pretty impressive with a guy with that kind of power.
High pop to left. Yelich under it, and he makes the catch. Adam Conley, 4 very nice innings in a scoreless game. Brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your South Florida BMW dealers. And by Lexus of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. Night falling in Miami. Rockies and Marlins opening a 4-game series. Rockies are hot. The Marlins are 2 over 500. Marcell Ozuna marches to the plate. Giancarlo Stanton, Justin Bour follow in the 4th. Marlins getting a look at the Rockies' top pitching prospect. Young right-hander John Gray, just 24. Just a couple seasons removed from an All-American year at Oklahoma. And he does like to throw that changeup righty on righty.
That's a pitch that he's recently been working on, has not thrown it much up until his last start. Only 3% of his pitch has been that changeup. When you got a mid-90s fastball, I've always felt that for me as a hitter, regardless of righty or lefty, changeup was the toughest pitch for me. A guy that had a good changeup, I thought it was the toughest pitch for me to handle. You get in that pattern where a lot of pitching coaches and a lot of players feel that you don't go same side changeups.
But if your changeup is good enough, it shouldn't matter which side, correct?
Exactly. And I think that pitchers get into that funk where, oh, I'm a right-hander, I'm not supposed to be able to throw my changeup to a right-handed batter because it tails into a right-handed hitter and away from a lefty. So that's exclusively what they throw is almost all the time. A right-hander would throw a changeup to a lefty, not a righty.
All right, here's Stan, who struck out in the second. Gray fell behind him and then struck him out on a slider. And quickly it's 0-2, a fastball for a strike. And two perfect pitches to open the at-bat. That's a fair ball off the end of the bat. Stanton around first, and he'll hold there. Gonzalez throws behind him. Stanton is just back in. I think Stanton may have lost that off the bat. He did a terrific job of staying closed, as you talked about.
There's that cutter again on the outside part of the plate, right off the end of the bat. And I think you're right. I don't think he really knew where it was going at first. He takes off late. Gets a late break on this one. Surprised he didn't go for second base on this one right here, but like you said, Carlos Gonzalez with that left-handed throw, one of the better arms in the National League in right field.
But a base hit nonetheless, and that has been one of the tough things for the Marlins offense to absorb, and they've done a nice job of it during this Stanton slump, is that he's not hitting homers and he wasn't getting base hits either. So a single here, especially to the right side. Marlins glad to have it, and Bohr takes a rip and fouls it back, counts 1-1. Justin Bohr singled. And the defense for the Rockies with a runner at first is back where we saw it, kind of that zone defense against Bohr, with the three infielders bunched over the middle, that right side wide open. High chopper, Arenado, there's one, and the turn is in time to get Bohr. And that was Story, the shortstop, that turned it. Rockies and Marlins. Top five. Lenny Harris all mic'd up tonight.
What are you looking at?
See that good Lord? I hit that first one 400.
See what happened? The good Lord bless you. Hit one 400,
then you hit
a dead duck.
over the picture head.
40 feet.
30 feet.
Hey, give me credit.
All right, I give you credit. 35 feet.
That's one way to look at it, isn't it?
That is one way to look at it for sure.
Always entertaining when Lenny Harris wears a mic for us.
One of the funniest teammates I've ever had. He keeps that clubhouse light. He's always chattering. He's always full of energy, and good guy to have around.
Trevor Story certainly has lit it up numbers-wise. Talked about the home runs, 17, 15 doubles, a .556 slugging percentage. But he has also punched out a lot. He leads Major League Baseball with 94 strikeouts and just 19 walks.
Well, you look at Trevor Story, a rookie this year, shortstop taking over for Troy Tulowitzki. It's an exceptional year for shortstops going for this Rookie of the Year crown. You got Corey Seager out in LA with 15 home runs, 36 RBIs, only 22 years old. Diaz in St. Louis is having an exceptional hit, 312 as a rookie for the Cardinals this year. .505 slugging percentage for him. Got some great pitching going on as well with Matz from the Mets and Maeda from LA having great years as far as rookie pitchers are concerned. It could be an interesting Rookie of the Year vote when it comes down to it in September.
Approaching the halfway point of the season. Conley elevates a fastball and strikes Story out. Toyota, an inside look brought to you by the all-new RAV4. First 8 starts, you see the ERA in the mid-3s, but the last 5 starts for Conley. Batting average balls in play is high, but the whip is as well, and that's not a good sign. Walks and hits per innings pitched.
Coming into this inning, Conley was 11 for 13 as far as first pitch strikes were concerned. Get him in the strike zone like that and get ahead of these batters with the good stuff he's got tonight. See him throwing 92, 93 mile-an-hour fastballs, and that cutter and slider down and into the right-hand hitter has been very effective.
5 strikeouts. Rayburn takes down, and it's 2-1. Brian Rayburn, Plant City, Florida, and a Florida Gator for a while, and then he ended up at South Florida Community College in Avon Park. Taken by the Tigers. He was with Detroit for 7 seasons. The last 3 years he was a Cleveland Indian. How did that miss him? That ball, I believe, went between his legs. Watch this. And Real Muto caught it.
Pretty athletic on both sides. Him for getting out of the way, and Real Muto for actually catching this pitch. See there, it went through his legs. Wow.
What a great look on the replay.
Wow. Does not get uniform or anything. Wow.
Some players would have let out a yelp as that was approaching.
In anticipation of pain.
Martin Prado does that every now and then.
That is not a good place to get hit. Lower leg.
Conley misses in. That's walk number 2. And Rayburn will trot down to first, and here's Mark Reynolds. South Florida Honda dealers get you ready for an all-star Saturday. Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson will be out in center field. Wei-Yin Chen going for Miami. And the Rockies I have Tyler Chatwood, a right-hander. On Sunday, Tom Kohler and Tyler Anderson. Anderson's a lefty, and another lefty for the Rockies on Monday, Jorge De La Rosa against Justin Nicolino. Jose Fernandez jumps back into the rotation on Tuesday against the Braves. Little tapper up the line. Prado's throw is in time. Nice play by Martin Prado. And there's 2 outs for the catcher Nick Hundley.
Well, defensively in this series, you're not going to see 2 third basemen that do this play much better than Arenado and Prado. Outstanding play here. Kind of a do or die. You're going to go barehanded all the way. And there's no doubt that this is an outstanding play, and you've got the top 2 fielding percentage leaders in the National League on the field tonight in Prado and Arenado.
Marlins are going to walk Hundley and pitch to Gray. Hundley has really developed as a hitter. He didn't hit a whole lot in his first few years in the big leagues, but he's coming off a year last year where he kind of busted out and had a career year with 10 homers, 21 doubles. He hit .301.
This is one of the proposed rule changes for next year, is to designate from the dugout that we just want to put this guy on. We don't want to have to throw any pitches. It's been brought up in the owners' meetings and put on the table, so to speak, for Players Association to take a look at for the next collective bargaining agreement.
You like that?
I don't. I mean, I think, and I've seen a couple games actually end on wild pitches with an intentional walk, and I think it's part of the game that should stay that way.
It happened to the Marlins. Steve Cishek in Seattle, a walk-off wild pitch on an intentional walk attempt. Of course, the great moment in Marlins history, Miguel Cabrera in Baltimore, while being intentionally walked, reached over and smacked an RBI hit to center to help win a ball game. Gray sprays this one wide of first, counts 0-2.
I was playing first base in Baltimore when that happened.
I think there should be, if they do have this rule, there should be some designation that a manager has to run out on the field and hand like a big W or, you know, a card or something to the hitter and say, here,
present this to the umpire when you get up there.
To left, it's well hit. Yelich back, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Still scoreless. the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Rich Waltz, Jeff Conine. Jeff Conine has been complaining about missing the meal tonight, and so look who stopped by. Very nice of you, Preston.
Does it get any better? We got quesadillas, we got fajitas. It's my favorite night down there. It's fajita or Mexican night down in the Marlins suite down there, and I'm doing the game tonight, so I don't get a chance to eat. And I threw a piece of paper at Preston. He said, "It's taco night down here." I'm like, "Oh, it's my favorite night."
Preston working Marlins Live. He'll be back for Marlins postgame. And here's the amazing thing about Preston. Does the pregame show. The bow tie is still immaculate. It's in, some people like me, see, you undo the tie, you call the game. But Preston, man, he's still got it going on.
And how about taco night, salsa, sour cream, all this stuff, and look at the shirt. It's perfect. Very impressive.
Very nice. Outstanding.
That's a golf clap. You deserve a golf clap for that one. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Pitcher's duel here. Real Muto swings and misses at a slider.
Thanks, bud.
Did you text him to bring some for me?
Yes, this is it's shareable.
Oh, yeah,
this is all shareable.
Yeah. Real Muto, hot smash to short. Story has it and has the out. Miami has mustered just 3 hits against John Gray. The Rockies do not have a hit. Adam Conley with 5 no-hit innings, and it's a territory that Conley's been in before. He's flirted with a no-hitter on a couple of occasions this season.
Yeah, he was in at Milwaukee, 7 2/3 no-hit innings, and 116 pitches was his high of the year. Don Mattingly decided to take him out of the game. I think a good decision at that point.
Conley is at 79 pitches through 5 innings. Quicken brings you rocket arms. Longest no-hit bids for lefties. Of course, Al Leiter has the only lefty no-hitter in Marlins history. But Conley's run in Milwaukee was the second longest. And then, of course, we told you he's flirted with it again. He had 2 outs in the 6th inning on the 1st of June.
Ended up giving 2 hits on that one. Finished 6 innings against the Pirates. So this is not uncharted territory for Adam Conley. He's got excellent stuff tonight.
So does John Gray. Marlins have not barreled up a whole lot of baseballs. A lot of these, a lot of pop-ups right side. LeMahieu ventures out and makes the catch. You think about the Marlins hits. Dietrich, that what did Lenny Harris call it? The one that died behind the pitcher's mound?
A dead duck or a dying duck or something.
That was Dietrich's hit. Stanton's ball, though it was a pretty good swing, it got it off the end part of the bat and lined it down the right field line. And Bohr's single was a sharp single to right. And here is Conley. Conley's in a slump. He is 0 for 22 to start the season. He had 4 hits last year. He's 4 for 18. Little roller. LeMahieu shovels it up and gets the outs. That's a 9-pitch inning for John Gray. Adam Conley goes back to work in a scoreless 6th.
I'm just currently signing one of only 200 Jeff Conine bobbleheads available in this year's Fantasy Auction Pledge Pack. So the information is right there on your screen. Call now to get one of these in your pledge pack. They're going fast. Hurry up. Pledge now.
Nicely done, Niner. 305-480-2550. 305-480-2550. Or marlins.com/pledge pack. And later on in the show, through the magic of the iPad, we'll order one from up here. $175. The Don Mattingly autographed baseball, the Jeff Conine autographed bobblehead headliners, but plenty of good stuff in there. Cap from Tommy Bahama, great beach towel from Fox Sports 1. A cap from the team store in either black or red orange, a fitted cap. Our friends at Ford with some cool stuff in there as well. Oh, the Billy McFly bobblehead is a popular one. The Back to the Future bobblehead of Billy. Adam Conley through the lineup. First time at 275, second time 200, and then it bumps up a little over 300. This is his third time through, and he gets the top of the order in the sixth. So far, 5 no-hit innings for Adam Conley. Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, and Carlos Gonzalez. Blackmon takes a breaking ball. He's popped out and flied out. The table setter for the Rockies at 367 on base and a 485 slug. Even the Rockies leadoff hitter is doing damage right now.
Yeah, when you look at the disparity between home and away, Charlie Blackmon's one of the more even offensive players on the Rockies, hitting .292 on the road and .313 at home, but on base percentage is almost identical. .364 on the road, .370 at home.
He was drafted twice as a pitcher by the Red Sox and the Marlins before ending up at Georgia Tech and going in the second round in 2008 to the Colorado Rockies. An all-star 2 years ago. He had a huge year last year. He swiped 43 bases, a career high, 17 homers, 31 doubles from the leadoff spot.
Conley starting to struggle a little bit in the strike zone. This is third 3-2 count in the last 2 innings. But he ends up throwing a strike there to get Blackmon to fly out to Marcell Ozuna for the first out of the inning.
Out number 1 of the 6th. Tomorrow, the top 2 welterweights in the world battle for a title shot when Rory McDonald takes on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Plus fan favorite Cowboy Cerrone battles Patrick Cote. It's all tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. I've not heard of Wonderboy. I thought that was the bat that Roy Hobbs used in the Natural. Little did I know it turned into a UFC fighter. It was a great scene at the end, and he busted it. The bat boy, I forget the kid's name, pick out a winner. And he promptly hit one in the lights. DJ LeMahieu is lined out and walked. Well, the Rockies have gaudy numbers and they're hot. A sweep of the Yankees in a 2-game set. They won 2 of 3 from San Diego. Ozuna has it. A couple of fly ball outs to center in the Rockies 6th. And here comes Carlos Gonzalez.
Yeah, LeMahieu is one of those gaudy numbers at home guys. Coors Field hitting .370. Batting average .321 overall, but only .275 on the road. Slugging .620 at home.
The Rockies schedule has little bit of a wrinkle in it in the last week. They played a one-game makeup against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had to come back and make up a game in Denver. And of course the Rockies won that game as well. They beat Pittsburgh 11-3. They had just come off taking 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. And part of the success certainly is keeping this guy healthy, which he was last year and he has been so far this year.
Yeah, when you look at overall players and studs on both sides of the baseball, defensively, offensively, Gonzalez and Arenado are maybe 2 of the best in the National League.
Big swing by the 30-year-old Venezuelan. His 7th year in Colorado, his 9th year in the big leagues. Now he tries the breaking ball, just missed. It's 2-2.
Good pitch here by Connolly. You see, it was almost designed as a pitch off the plate.
Gonzalez lines that one in the corner. That's the first hit for the Rockies. Stanton picks it off the wall. And Carlos Gonzalez has his 13th double, 2-out hit here in the 6th. And that's the spot where Conley jumped off the no-hit train on the 1st of June against the Pirates. 5 2/3 innings.
Yeah, misses badly with location here. You saw JT Realmuto out on the outside corner with another breaking ball. He missed it badly over the middle part of the strike zone. A guy like Carlos Gonzalez isn't going to miss too many of those.
What Conley really has to bear down now. Arenado has struck out, flied out. And the Marlins are going to walk Arenado to get to Story. It's rare that you intentionally walk somebody in the middle of a lineup. Oftentimes it's down near where the pitcher or maybe a light hitting position player. But Story has 17 homers, 15 doubles. He is strikeout prone. We told you he leads all of baseball at 95 strikeouts. You can see the home run leaders. He's just off of that with his 17.
And 10 of those have been on the road, which lead Major League Baseball.
Four walks now, but 2 of them are intentional. And if you're going to change the intentional walk, I'm hopeful that that takes out, I mean, if that does happen, that a pitcher isn't charged with 4 balls. He's not charged with a walk. Because if whip is becoming a number that is used to delineate between good, bad, great, average, both statistically or in, say, arbitration, then the intentional walk can move that needle, I think, unfairly for a pitcher. Now, if he doesn't give up the double, he doesn't have to intentionally walk the hitter. So sometimes you put yourself in that position, but still.
I agree. If you're being told to intentionally walk someone by your manager, I don't think that should count against you as a performer on the field.
Maybe someday the manager will tell the pitcher to intentionally walk him and then step off him out and say, have you not seen my whip? I've got a top 5 whip here. 1-1. Change up. And it's 2-1.
Fox Tracks has that one just off.
Not by a whole lot.
Down an inside corner, not much at all.
Conley whips in that high fastball. The perceived velocity of Conley has to be 94, 95, because you see guys miss on his fastball like that, and it's 91 on the gun.
Yeah, he's got good deception with that. Kind of whips his wrist around as he brings his arm back out of the glove before he delivers, and that, like you said, the perceived velocity is much different because I see them take a lot of strikes that, or swings at strikes that are way behind.
There's that pitch again that was close. That's a strike. And home plate umpire Chris Conroy doesn't budge.
Boy, that's one you really want and need in that situation. Good changeup by Connolly. Marlins bullpen active now, 103 pitches on his pitch count.
So if you're not getting the changeup called low in the zone, does that mean you revert to a high fastball?
We've seen him strike him out on a high fastball before.
Pitch is in. So bags are loaded. Juan Nieves is on his way out. Rayburn is the hitter. Nick Whitgren is ready in the bullpen. And Conley trying to get over the hump here, keep this a scoreless game. He walked Rayburn back in the 5th unintentionally and struck him out in the 2nd.
Talked about the offensive juggernaut that is the Colorado Rockies, and one reason is runners in scoring position. They're hitting 281 as a team, 3rd in the National League behind St. Louis and Cincinnati.
Bases filled with Rockies, 2 outs. Rayburn takes a changeup down low. Rayburn last year in limited duty did damage as an Indian. Starting in left field for the Rockies tonight. Popped up but out of play. Three career grand slams. Ball and a strike.
These are the situations where you want a young pitcher like Conley to be able to work out of. I'm glad to see that Don Mattingly stuck with him to hopefully get out of this jam.
Elevates a fastball and it's 2-2. Hopefully for Conley, this is the last hitter he faces. And he's able to get out of it. 30th pitch of the inning. And it hits him. It hits Rayburn in the foot. And the Rockies have a lead of 1-0. And with Reynolds coming up, we'll see if this is the last guy that Conley faces, and it is. Don Mattingly's on his way out to the mound. And Nick Whitgren's going to come in and face Mark Reynolds. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. It's 1-0 Colorado. Dugouts 1-0 Colorado. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Well, in Miami tonight, Conley took a no-hitter into the 6th and got the first 2 outs. But the double by Gonzalez. Don Mattingly called for an intentional walk of Arenado. Trevor Story then walked. And Ryan Rayburn hit by a pitch. So Wickren against Reynolds, who is a swing and miss guy, but when he connects, it goes a long way. He's lined out and bounced out.
Reynolds cut down on his strikeouts this year. 200 at bats, struck out 58 times. We've seen him lead the league a couple times as far as strikeouts are concerned.
I believe he still has the all-time record for strikeouts in a season, 223. So there you go. Just to add gravity to your comment. Strike from Wickren, and he's 1-2. That's a perfect pitch.
Shame for Conley coming into this inning. Had a no-hitter and leaves with the Rockies up 1-0 and 3 men on base.
University of Virginia. Long ago, Mark Reynolds will turn 33 this season. Diving, Dietrich has it for the outs. And that'll keep the damage to just the 1 run. Nice play by Dietrich. Wickren gets the out. But the Rockies have the first run of the night, and they do it here in the 6th. Ball is brought to you by T-Mobile. How about Colby Lewis with a complete game 2-hitter? David Wright underwent surgery on a herniated disc in his neck. Victor Martinez, a 3-homer game for the Tigers. And tonight, Big Papi is now 19th on the all-time homer list. He's tied with 3 Hall of Famers now. He hit his 521st at Fenway Park. He ties Ted Williams, Red Sox legends, Willie McCovey, and Frank Thomas. And Derek Dietrich punches one into right field. His second hit of the ball game. And the 3rd time through now for the Marlin hitters. against John Gray.
Yeah, Dietrich here brings his hand nicely on that ball down and in. Fastball, kind of running back over the inside part of the plate. Puts through that hole there nicely at between first and second. It's a second hit of the ball game. Struck a little bit more firmly than the first hit he got. That Lenny Harris called a, what do you call it, a dead duck?
A dying duck.
Dying duck.
Now Martin Prado's bounced out, popped out. Well, there's no drop off for John Gray. The averages get lower. And here he is with Prado, Yelich, Ozuna lined up. Dietrich at first. A 1-0 Rockies lead. You prepare for a major league game as an announcer. You look for all types of background stories on players from both sides of the ball. And for John Gray, one of the stories unearthed is that he is a ghost hunter. He likes hanging around creepy haunted hotels when he's not pitching. Prado swings and misses.
So he's probably a big fan of Milwaukee.
Yes, the Fister.
Maybe even the Vinoy.
The Vinoy over in St. Pete. He searches for proof of the paranormal with a tape recorder to capture EVP, an electronic voice phenomena, and something called a K2 reader, which apparently is supposed to register paranormal activity.
So you're being serious right now.
I am. He said an experience that he had when he was younger made him think that they are out there. And he's looking. Busted bat. Arenado backhand flip. Wow. I mean, wow.
You don't see that too often. I don't think I've ever seen that from third base. A lot of times you'll see it shortstops up the middle, second baseman flip it to their double play partner, but this one, he flips it from third base and almost turns a double play. Well, you're looking at Gold Glover, perennial Gold Glover there at third base. He's a special player, and those guys usually do special things, and I've never seen that flipped backhand like that from third base.
No, I have not either. There's Yelich. Yelich takes down low. He's popped to left and hit a hard smash to second on an 0 for 2 night. Marlins have just 4 hits, all singles, and are down 1-0. Pitch is outside to Yelich. Yelich right field and deep and gone. 2-1 Miami.
That's what you're talking about, Christian Yelich. Bang! Give the Marlins a lead.
6th of the season for Yelich. And the 3rd time through is the charm for Miami against Gray. An 84-mile-an-hour changeup.
You see the grip there. This changeup kind of spins on that same plane right down the middle. Christian Yelich keeps his hands back and deposits it. The right field bleachers for a 2-1 Marlins lead. One of the few mistakes that Gray has made on the night. Look at a sweet swing by Christian Yelich. He knew it right when it left his bat.
Ozuna takes a strike, counts 1-1. So neither team with much offense at all until the 6th. Rockies got their first hit and the first run. Ozuna rips the hands through and pulls one into left field. Now Miami with a couple of runs, 3 hits now in the inning. And the Rockies bullpen looks like it's starting to stir.
Good piece of hitting here by Ozuna. Look at this tailing fastball in. Call it the old alligator arm swing. Kind of bring your arms in. You know you're not going to get fully extended, so you got to cut that swing off a little bit just to get the barrel to the ball. Good piece of hitting by Marcell Ozuna.
Our old friend Steve Foster, the pitching coach for the Rockies. Foster, the former bullpen coach for the Fish. Lenny Harris is all mic'd up. Let's hear him.
Oh boy, that's a start. It's not how you hit him, it's how you get him. Them fastballs out, borderline.
I got him on it.
Here is Stanton with Ozuna at first. And fastball that misses. It's 1-0. Gray fell behind, then came back to strike Stanton out in the 2nd. You saw the Giancarlo base hit in the 4th. To the screen it goes. Ozuna to 2nd. Not sure if Hundley got crossed up.
That looks like a slider that didn't slide. He got on the side of it.
You know, it looks so easy in slow motion, but that's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. So he gets a pass ball. That may change. Regardless, Ozuna's in scoring position. 2-0 to Stanton. And it's way out. Do you give a struggling hitter a green light on 3-0?
I mean, as a hitter, I didn't feel comfortable swinging through ever. But I think with a hitter like Stanton right now, you're looking for a pitch down the middle. I would turn him loose.
It's down low. He looked like he was game on the way he took that pitch. Well, Rocky's pen is busy. Christian Yelich has changed the game. Justin Bour is coming up. Chad Qualls, ladies and gentlemen, former Marlin. Kyle Barraclough in Miami's bullpen. Bour is singled and bounced into a double play. Infield is pretty much straight up for Bour. And he takes a strike.
We had 2 starting pitchers entering the 6th inning, pretty much dominating this game. Look at Adam Conley come in with a no-hitter, ends up leaving with 5 walks and 1 run after hitting a batter.
Slow roller. Stanton stops. Bour is out. And the Rockies turn the double play. The Marlins are going to look at it.
Back of the glove is the rule here.
Oh, he's safe.
Oh, he's safe, like really safe.
That's like way, yeah, unbelievably safe. And the Marlins are going to challenge it, and this is going to put Bour back at first. Ozuna never left third. John Gray trying to get through the 6th. Marlins have the lead. Bour knows he's safe, right? I mean, he's seen the replay, but He's taken advantage of this break to come in and get a drink.
And I would think this would be one of the quicker calls that the umpires have made in New York on this one. That was pretty clear cut.
But for Bohr, now that he's come in to get a drink, he can't run right out there like, yeah, I'm safe. You know what I'm saying? He still has to respect the process. And so he and Ozuna are visiting on third. Safe passage back to first.
The big man gritting it out there, clearly safe. Keeps the inning alive for JT Realmuto. It's pretty interesting the way the entire Rockies defense acted on that play. Nobody left the field, even though it would have been the third out. I think they all knew that, well, we're going to be standing out here a little bit longer.
Realmuto's popped out, bounced out. At the corners, you see the infield swung a bit towards the third base side on the infield. And that ground ball is going to find LeMahieu. Miami takes the lead. Christian Yelich takes a changeup and puts it in the seats. And it's 2-1 Miami into the seventh. On top into the seventh. Christian Yelich to right, the changeup. You got to love watching Yelich, the eyes, the head on the ball. John Gray getting angrier as he moves further down the dugout. Now he's distraught. Now he's
might be some broken stuff down there underneath the dugout.
So it's down to the bullpens now. You would expect the Rockies will probably head to their pen. Kyle Bearclaw for Miami. Bearclaw arrives in the seventh, and he gets 8-9-1 in Colorado's order. The pitcher spot is due up second, and so the Marlins make a double switch with Chris Johnson over at first base. And here's Hundley. Hundley has bounced out. Intentional walk in the fifth. Rockies have a pinch hitter on deck. And a breaking ball strike to Hundley. That is Christian Adames. No swing, and it's 1-2. And now the Rockies have a pair of right-handers up in their pen. Bearclaw goes to 2-2 on Nick Hundley. His father, a longtime college football coach, a defensive coordinator. Echeverria. Nice pick by Johnson. And out here in the 7th. On Sunday, oh, look out. Father's Day homer. I remember calling that one in Anaheim. What a special moment that was for my partner, Jeff Conine. And on Sunday, it's a fun day with the Rockies. 110 start. Pepsi 4 for 54 packs are available. First 5,000 dads get a Don Mattingly t-shirt courtesy of Monster. Dads and kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash after the game. I would expect there'll be plenty of light blue. Pinch a Penny bringing you the pinch hitter here, Christian Adames. Jeff, that moment for you was certainly a prostate cancer awareness day in 2005 in Anaheim. Your father was there, and your father affected by prostate cancer.
Yes, he was. And you know, when you think about the meaningful home runs you've hit in your life and the impact it's had, you know, Major League Baseball has done a phenomenal job of donating a lot of money and getting involved in prostate cancer awareness and research on Father's Day, and that one had a special meaning for me as my dad had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and happy to say he had it taken care of, and he's doing great and healthy as can be right now.
And that's become a great tradition in baseball for Mother's Day, for breast cancer awareness, and for Father's Day, prostate cancer research. And of course, this is this week we're all part of the home run challenge. $1.29 million in 4 days has been raised with the home runs hit in the home run challenge games. You can donate. HomeRunChallenge.org. One-two. Up the line and foul. Adames, the Dominican Republic. Been in the organization 9 years now, and finally popped into the big leagues last year.
When you look at rookie pitchers in the National League right now, and you focus mostly on starters a lot of times, but Kyle Bearclaw has putting up some pretty impressive numbers out of the bullpen.
Dietrich, quick release. Adames gets down the line rapidly.
25 innings pitched on the year and 47 strikeouts.
You can see what the Cardinals really liked in him. He was the Double-A closer for the Cardinals last year when the Marlins traded Steve Cishek to St. Louis.
And I think it's only going to get better as soon as he starts fine-tuning the control. He's been plagued by walks, got 20 walks in 25 innings, but the strikeouts have been pretty impressive.
That's pretty much the last piece before you see Bearclaw in a discussion as a closer himself in the big leagues.
A big league hitter like Charlie Blackmon to swing and miss on a pitch like that out of the strike zone, and you got some pretty nasty stuff.
Adam Conley, 5 2/3. Gave up just 1 hit, 1 run, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts. 2 of the walks intentional. Echeverria backing up, shuffles the feet and gets him. Nifty bit of footwork by Etch at short because Blackmon can run. 2-1 Miami.
Good ball game, 2-1 here with the Marlins leading, the kind of ball game that Dick Sanford loved watching throughout his 66+ years. And in between innings here, the Marlins honored and paid homage to Dick Sanford, who passed away earlier this week. The longtime PA announcer here was here for 15 years and was a sportscaster in South Florida for a couple of decades. And talking with his son Chad this week, who works here with the Marlins in the in-game entertainment. Chad said just a few weeks ago, Dick ordered a Vin Scully jersey, one of his heroes, with that number 67, the amount of years that Vin Scully's been calling Major League Baseball. And as Dick Sanford said to his son, he'd be in his 67th year as well. His birthday was coming up in August. Great baseball fan, a great man that we lost. Again, our respect to the Sanford family, guys.
Well said, Craig. He was a friend to all of us, and not only the public address voice here, but also up in Jupiter at spring training, and a really good baseball man. Loved to talk about the games that he saw, whether they were up at Roger Dean, here at Marlins Park. Danny Echeverria leads it off. Gonzalez Herman is in for the Rockies. So Colorado dips into their bullpen for the first time. John Gray was impressive tonight. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, both coming on the home run by Christian Yelich. And there's an Ichiro sighting. Ichiro is on deck. And then you've got Derek Dietrich.
Both Conley and Gray were in pretty good control of this game going into the 6th inning. Conley kind of lost his control a little bit, gave up the double to Cargo to end his no-hit bid, and then ended up walking a couple guys. But Gray came in throwing the ball really well as well, gave up 3 hits, including a 2-run homer to Christian Yelich to kind of end his night.
Ichiro, of course, on Wednesday had the 2 hits, one to tie and then the other to pass the Pete Rose hit total. In his post-game press conference, Ichiro talked about passing Rose, and again saying that, you know, if someone wants to celebrate it, that's great. It was an accomplishment, but by no means was he the hit king. But he also said that 3,000 was the big number. 3,000 is the one that he's going for, and those are the papers over in Japan. The television coverage that night and the next day, and the newspapers the next day, loaded at the very top with Ichiro.
It is remarkable how important Ichiro is in Japan and how recognizable, and what an impact he has on people. And I've got to go over to Tokyo and spend some time with him there, and we were going out to a dinner one night, and that's not a great. It's got it there. It's got it there. Looks a lot lower live.
Yeah, well, Ichiro reacted too, but it was a strike.
But Ichiro, walking into the restaurant, we passed a woman and her small child as they were walking by on the sidewalk, and there was a girl. She must have been 3 or 4 years old. She looked up and pointed and said, "Ichiro," as he's walking by, and that's what kind of impact he has on the Japanese culture.
2,979 major league hits. He's 21 away from 3,000. Ichiro into center field. A line drive hit. He's 20 away. Man, and every now and then there's a ground ball base hit, but most of these have been line drives and shots to the outfield.
Yeah, the way he is zeroed in on that sweet spot of the bat right now, this whole season, has been absolutely remarkable. Like you said, there's not been too many cheap hits. And that one, look at the down in the strike zone, a changeup. Keeps his hands back, and that ball is just squared up. And obviously, you know, I got to play against him in his prime when he was, I mean, he still is in his prime, I guess.
Dietrich liner left field, caught there. Ichiro reverses course and heads back to first. Rayburn runs it down. That was well hit by Dietrich. That's the second out, and here comes Martin Prado. Well, in his prime, and you played against him, I saw him first hand while I was in Seattle from 01 through 04. And the difference now is the speed. He's lost a step. Back then, any bobble in the infields, any slow hit that got between infielders was a base hit back then.
Yeah, shortstops had, you talk about a shift, they had to play in with nobody on base just to keep him off the base paths, because if it had more than 2 or 3 bounces, he was going to beat it out to first base.
He's so unique. There have been a lot of questions about the shoes that he wears. You know anything about that?
I do, actually, because I have a pair, not with spikes on them, but he gave us a pair when we went to Japan, and he actually brought over everybody in the clubhouse for the Marlins got a pair of these shoes. They're called they're from a Japanese company. I think they're called the B-Mu or B-Mora. They got the Ichiro Custom 51 on them, and they're almost like slippers. I mean, they're very lightweight, not much support. Almost like when he was in Seattle, it looked like he wore wrestling shoes almost.
Prado fouls it back and counts 1 and 2. You know, the amazing thing is there's what, 13 days left in this month, and it's down to 20.
Remarkable. At the beginning of this year, the Marlins were hoping 11 per month would be on target to get his 65 needed to get to 3,000. And with his resurgence in the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's been remarkable. He got 10 hits in the span of 3 games early in June.
I think a lot of that has to do with the way Don Mattingly has used him, and the fact that the Marlins outfield has been relatively healthy. Obviously, Stanton and Yelich were out for a bit, but not like last year. He played a lot last year and did not have a great year at the plate. But this year it seems like a spot start, maybe a couple starts a week, not only have helped him get in his groove and stay fresh, but they've helped his pinch hitting at bats.
I agree. I think last year we saw him have a pretty productive first half, and because of all the injuries to the Marlins outfield, Giancarlo Stanton missed half the year, Christian Yelich missed the first of 4 or 5 weeks. He got worn down and really struggled that second half of the year last year. How many times we see him kind of roll over on ground ball to second base, and now we see, like you said, Don Mattingly using him just right, and he's fresh and squaring the ball up like He always has.
7 for 22 as a pinch hitter is Ichiro. Prado fouls it off.
So in April, Ichiro is right on that number, about 10, and then 18 hits in May and already 17 in the month of June.
One, two. Ichiro runs. Prado fouls it off. So he has 7 pinch hits already. He had just 9 pinch hits last year. $20 away. Prado keeps fighting off pitch after pitch. 7th pitch of the at bat coming up. Count still 1-2. The Rockies, one of the hotter teams going, having won 8 of 10, arriving here for 4. Marlins back after a road trip in which they went 4 and 5 and felt they let a couple of those ball games slip away, which obviously could have really turned that into a nice road trip.
Great at bat by Martin Prado here. See if Ichiro's on the move. 2-2. Martin Prado only has 29 strikeouts and 251 at bats, so might see him running.
Rifled in the corner. Ichiro around second. Headed for third. Rayburn up with it. Here comes Ichiro. And he scores. 3-1.
Didn't need to have him in motion there to get him all the way home from first base. A favorable bounce off the outfield wall there.
Martin Prado with an RBI double.
Wow, down and in sinker right here after fouling off a number of pitches. Hits a line drive. You see it hit the bottom of that wall there just to carry him enough off line to give him a little bit extra time, and he scores easily.
And so here is Yelich, who homered his last time to give Miami a 2-1 lead. A run here in the bottom of the 7th. And her man misses out. Rockies bullpen is ready. Qualls is up for the 2nd time. And Hundley's on his way out to the mound. The Marlins opened this 4-game set 2 over, 7.5 behind the Nationals, 2.5 behind the Mets, as you see David Phelps in the bullpen. The Mets are losing to Atlanta 4-1 in New York. And that's now in the 8th inning, top of. The Phillies are losing to Arizona 9-2 in Philadelphia. That's top 7. Nationals are still in San Diego, where they won last night. Ball was really jumping in that ballpark and in that matchup. 3-0 pitch coming to Yelich.
We look at Christian Yelich on his year, 317 average, but where he really has been thriving is the 7th inning on. So that pitch is off the plate for a ball, but called the gimme strike, 3-0. Hitting 387 from the 7th inning on is Christian Yelich.
You think about that number, and in this modern age of baseball, that means people equate it with, hey, the game's close, the game's on the line, and it is sometimes. But I think what is impressive about that is you're facing bullpen arms, in a lot of cases premium bullpen arms, in the 8th and the 9th inning. And so getting hits against guys that you haven't seen a whole lot of, guys that are set up to just come in and get 3 outs, it's not easy. It's not like you're getting your 3rd or 4th at bat against the starter. Pitch is up, and Yelich walks, and that brings up Ozuna. And that also brings Walt Weiss out, and Chad Qualls is going to come in to face Ozuna. With Yelich at first and Prado at second. Ichiro starts it with hit number 2,980, a line drive to center. With 2 outs, Prado scores him, and the inning is still going. And West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Now with that line drive hit, the pinch hit by Ichiro. Chad Qualls arrives. Qualls had a nice run as a Marlin. Maybe best known for not a run, but a fall. A fist pump, tumble, and back on his feet.
That never gets old.
And then the next day, when he came out for batting practice, police tape, and wait a minute. Up in the seats there was. Here's Ozuna. Breaking ball misses out. Ozuna has walked, struck out, and singled.
Nothing's ever off off limits as far as a baseball clubhouse is concerned. You make a mistake like that, your teammates are going to make you pay for it. I think we were talking to a representative from the Rockies before the game today, and they said they showed it in Colorado as well.
Yeah, that follows you around.
Yeah.
But you know, Qualls was a good sport about it. He got to the dugout, smiled about it. Teammates got on him. He owned it, as they say. Late call and a strike to Ozuna. It's 1-2. Good pitch right on the corner. Chad Qualls makes his 808th Major League appearance. That's a pretty good pitch. Qualls started his walk to the dugout. Let's see.
That good slider. You see that dot on the back end of the baseball, just barely clipping the corner down there. That's the one the pitcher wants right there.
2-2. That one's pulled foul. 808 appearances is 45th all time. 35th if you're a relief pitcher. He just passed Nolan Ryan. The only active pitcher with more appearances is K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. Tries that slider again. Ozuna takes it, and the count now 3-2.
Yeah, pretty good testament to his longevity. Stuck around a long time. A good guy in the clubhouse, and obviously been an effective reliever for quite some time. I faced him when I was still playing with the Houston Astros.
Ozuna fouls it at the plate. Runners on the move on a 3-2 two-out pitch.
Yeesh. There's no coverage right there.
No, when you're in the slot, so to speak, you are exposed.
As a courtesy of the umpire, when they take a ball off the mask or the arm like that, the catcher will go out. Give him a minute to wince in pain as they go talk to the pitcher.
At least get the circulation back.
The umpire will do the same for the catcher. If they happen to catch a foul ball or a bat or something like that, they'll go talk to the pitcher and let him have a breather behind the plate.
Remember a incident, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, where an umpire caught a foul ball on his right wrist area, and it was broken, but he stayed there because he was able to continue. It hurt, but they wrapped it. But he couldn't call balls as strikes, so he had to do it with his left hand. Pitches down low, and Ozuna walks. Now, as I remember, Ken Kaiser, the old umpire, I believe he's an American League umpire.
Yeah.
He used to do left hands every now and then, which was unique.
I believe he was a professional wrestler too. I have to ask Craig Minervini about that, but Ken Kaiser, remember he had no neck. That was a really big, well-built guy, and he had no neck. It looked like he was a wrestler.
Stand tonight 1 for 2 with a walk. And Qualls catches a corner with a slider. It's 0-1. Boy, that's right on the border. Stanton drives it center field, base hit. It'll score 2. Prado scores, Yelich scores, and Giancarlo with a 2-hit night and a 2-run hit, and now a 5-1 lead.
That's got to feel good there, big man. Sometimes it takes a little number off the end of the bat to kind of get you going. You need those beneficial lucky hits every once in a while, and look what this one, he squares this one up, goes down and gets it. That's good to see. Add on runs, add on runs.
See the reaction from Marcell Ozuna. As much as this has weighed on Giancarlo Stanton, his teammates have tried everything they can do to support him, because they know that this guy, when he's right, can drive the bus. Johnson swings and misses. And the impressive thing really for this Miami ball club is that this stretch, with Stanton absent in terms of production, with D. Gordon absent because of the drug suspension, this ball club's 2 over. Johnson strikes out, but the Marlins add on. Starts with Ichiro and it ends with Stanton. Marlins now into the 8th against Colorado, and against Colorado the Marlins will play on a Monday. 7:10 start. All you can eat seats are just $25, and for all military personnel, first responders, and veterans with valid ID, you can receive complimentary tickets on South Florida Heroes Monday. Marlins.com for more details. This is game 1 of this 4-game series, and Miami with a 2-run homer by Christian Yelich in the 6th, and in the 7th, pinch hit by Ichiro, RBI double by Martin Prado, and a 2-run single by Giancarlo Stanton. So a lot to like so far, and now the Marlins are hopeful that the bullpen, well rested, can bring this one home. David Phelps follows Kyle Bearclaw, who followed Nick Wittgren. Adam Conley went to 5 2/3. Unfortunately for Conley, who pitched so well, he carried a no-hitter into the 6th, got 2 outs in the 6th. Conley can't win the game. There have been many games where Conley has left with the lead and has not been able to get the win. Here he loses his no-hitter, gives up the 1 hit and the 1 run. Remember, Nick Wittgren finished that inning. Marlins took the lead in the next half inning. Miguel Rojas in the game at second.
That's a very odd looking line score. You look at the board right now, 1 hit and 1 run is all the Rockies can muster. Marlins now with 9 hits and 5 runs.
Phelps with a fastball. LeMahieu fouls it back. Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado. Also coming up for the Rocks, Justin Miller in the bullpen. Of course, the Marlins long ago had a reliever who tragically passed, Justin Miller. He had the tattoos on his arms, and at that time Major League Baseball made him wear sleeves to cover up the tattoos. It affected some other pitchers in baseball, so they called it the Justin Miller rule.
More interesting on the line score. There's a 6 where left on base is for the Rockies. 6 men left on base after only receiving. They've only got 1 hit the entire game.
Phelps punches out LeMahieu. Remember, tomorrow's ball game starts at 4 o'clock. And these are your starters once we get to 4 o'clock. Wei-Yin Chen looking for a bounce back start, so to speak. Tyler Chatwood goes for Colorado. .330 start, Marlins live. Chatwood is a right-hander. But then the Marlins will see 2 lefties from Colorado in games 3 and 4. Tyler Anderson, and then the wraparound portion of the series, that Monday game, Jorge De La Rosa against Justin Nicolino. Phelps goes up and gets a strike. Carlos Gonzalez, or Cargo as he's known around Denver, the Mile High City. He doubled in the 6th. He broke up Adam Conley's no-hit bid with 2 outs in the 6th. Braves still lead the Mets 5-1, bottom 8 in New York. And the Phillies are on their way to a loss in the 8th at home, 10-2, Arizona up. Remember how the Phillies were above 500 and surprising everyone. They'll fall to 8 under with that loss if that score holds. On the ground, Rojas has it on his feet. Terrific play. He is a premium defender at all 3 infield spots, 4 if you put him at first, and the Marlins have on a rare occasion.
Wow, what an asset to have on your bench. Don Mattingly knows he can put this guy anywhere in the infield and be above average defensively. That's a great play right there.
It's a good decision by Johnson, who probably could have gotten a glove on it to let Rojas try.
That's knowing your second baseman, his range, what he's capable of doing, getting up and making that throw. Good play by Johnson.
Arenado. And yes, it's pronounced Arenado. If you weren't with us at the outset of the telecasts, Arenado, when he got to the big leagues, everyone called him Nolan Arenado, and he didn't blink an eye. He just kind of wore it. But as his career has unfolded, 4 or 5 years in the big leagues, he was doing a public service announcement for the Denver airport, and when he recorded it, he said, this is the Colorado Rockies Nolan Arenado. And everyone took note and asked him, and he said, well, yeah, actually that's how you pronounce it, but I didn't want to be presumptuous, and just happy to be here and win 3 Gold Gloves and all of that.
And now you can call me by my real name.
There you go, Arenado. That's 0-2. Yeah, the one thing about Stanton too, when he asked to be called Giancarlo, he always had, through the minor leagues and his first few years with the Marlins, Giancarlo on his bats.
I think he still is referred to as Big Mike in the clubhouse.
Well, he is that. He is big. Very nice 8th inning by David Phelps. Bottom of the 8th in Miami. It's 5-1 Fish. On top of the Rockies, yes. Now those two aren't talking with each other, texting each other. And they're checking out all the scores on the MLB At Bat app. MLB.TV Premium. Give you every out-of-market regular season game on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. You get live highlights, in-game looks. You can watch every out-of-market game. Look at that. That's very sweet. It used to be, remember, Jeff, when you were a kid growing up and you went to a ball game at Dodger Stadium or at the Big A.
The Big A.
Many people sitting in the stands with newspapers to check out box scores, standings. You could use the sports page as a de facto game program or game notes. Now it's all tablets and phones.
That's it.
Realmuto fouls it back. Justin Miller is in for the Rockies. Third reliever to work for Walt Weiss. And Steve Foster, second-year pitching coach for Colorado. Their vice president of pitching, I believe, is his title, is also here tonight. Another good friend, Mark Wiley.
Mark Wiley, good friend. I had pitching coach for our Baltimore Orioles teams under Mike Hargrove when I was there. Came over to the Fish after he left Baltimore.
He was the pitching coach for those really good Cleveland Indian teams
under Mike Hargrove as well.
In fact, he was the pitching coach, I believe, on that Indians team that you guys beat in '97 in the World Series. Two. That's a slider for a strike. Realmuto didn't like it, but Miller gets a strikeout to open up the bottom of the eighth. Here's Echeverria. Miguel Rojas is in the 9 spot, so he's on deck, and the pitcher spot is in the leadoff spot. Story gets the out. And there's 2 outs here in the 8th. And here comes Rojas for his first at bat. Pledge packs on sale tonight. Your final chances to do it by phone. Now, phone sales will only be open for the first 2 days. So tonight and tomorrow afternoon. 305-480. 2550 is the phone number. There's all the cool stuff you get: a Don Mattingly autographed ball, a Jeff Conine autographed bobblehead, Back to the Future Billy bobblehead, Fox Sports 1 towel, Tommy Bahama cap, team cap from the team store, which is fitted, and you can get it in red, orange, or in black, all for a $175 donation. There are only 200 of those, so if you want one, get one. Of course, it all leads up to the Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction, which is coming up on Thursday, when the Marlins play the Cubs.
The red-hot Chicago Cubs. Quite a turned-around team this year. Joe Madden and crew coming to town. Should be a good night. Raise a lot of money.
The pledge packs generally sell out in the first couple of days. Although, you know, I think what I may do is buy a pledge pack on the iPad just to show everybody how to do it. We'll do that tomorrow afternoon. And then maybe I'll add a few things to it and then sell it on Thursday.
What are you going to add?
I don't know. I'm sure I could pick up an autographed item or two.
I bet you could. Got access.
And make it just a, not only a pledge pack, but a bonus pledge pack. Rojas bounces out. Marlins will try to finish this thing with a 5-1 lead into the ninth. Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. South Beach, hopping on a Friday night. 5-1 Miami in the ninth. And a nice start by Adam Conley. And a strong effort from the bullpen. Nick Wickren, Kyle Bearclaw, David Phelps. And this is Dustin McGowan, who will take the ninth, though A.J. Ramos isn't far behind if McGowan should stumble. Trevor Story, Ryan Rayburn, and Mark Reynolds for the Rockies. McGowan throws a strike.
A lot of credit to the Marlins pitching staff tonight. When you could keep an offense like the Colorado Rockies down for 8 innings and only give up 1 hit, that's pretty impressive. It's the leading offense in the National League.
Of course, as we noted in the outset of the telecast, these two franchises were born in the same year, 1993, and while the Rockies have more postseason appearances than the Marlins. Marlins have 2 world championships. The Rockies have been to 1 World Series and were swept by Boston. Those were the Clint Hurdle-led Rockies.
It was fun the early days getting together for the expansion series, they called it. We played our first one in Mile High Stadium, and we actually got snowed out one day.
How was, now this is pre-Humidor. The Humidor came into Coors Field back in 2002. What was it like playing in the 90s, first at Mile High Stadium and then at Coors Field?
It was, if I was ever in a slump, I always looked at the schedule to see when we were going to either Mile High or Coors Field, because I knew I was going to get out of it there. It's just a great place to hit. Facing Billy Swift one time there, he got into my hands pretty good, and I mean, my bat, it stung. Like it stung me, it jammed me that badly, and it was 5 rows deep out in left field. So it was remarkable how far the ball traveled.
Dustin McGowan finishes off Trevor Story. An 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts for Story tonight. Marlins Live postgame is brought to you by Checkers, and it's coming up. Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson. Good night for the Marlins on the mound. So far, 4 relievers in support of Adam Conley, who went 5 2/3, gave up a hit and a run. This is Rayburn. Ball and a strike. Jose Fernandez, Justin Nicolino. Fernandez, this was to be his start, but a scheduled skip. So he'll emerge on Tuesday to face the Atlanta Braves. Wei and Chen tomorrow night.
Yeah, they built in a couple skips for Jose Fernandez during the course this year. They had a innings limit or an innings structure for him coming off that Tommy John surgery from a couple of years ago. So this was a planned deal. Wasn't because he's hurt or anything like that.
Marlins expect to skip Fernandez after the All-Star break, or at least move him to the back of the rotation so that he gets the All-Star break and then those 4 days between starts. He will throw in between, stay sharp.
Another member of this Marlins team we might expect to see at the All-Star game July 12th, because Jose Fernandez having a pretty impressive year. 118 strikeouts right now, second in the National League behind Clayton Kershaw's 133, but he's got 20 plus innings less than Kershaw does.
Prado gets that momentum headed towards first and throws out Rayburn. Dustin McGowan looks sharp for A.J. Ramos. He's just light tossing in the pen. No need to really heat up yet. The rest of the staff getting on Jose right now. And Mark Reynolds comes in. I've just been handed from John Chimchuk, our baseball historian, your numbers in Denver at Mile High. You were just that. 440 average, 3 homers, 22 for 50. At Coors Field, you cooled down because it's Coors, it's frost brewed, and you hit a meager 407 with 7 homers among 37 hits. My goodness.
What can I say? I told you I love hitting at that place.
You were there before Humidor, after Humidor. Did it make any difference to you?
You know what? I didn't really notice that big a difference.
Your average dropped 33 points in
that's true.
Coors Field.
And my slugging went way down too, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, from 820 to 769. Yeah. 1-1 pitch. And McGowan misses in. McGowan, an interesting guy as he continues to round back into form. If he can be effective in this role, he'll add depth. Nick Whitgren has started to emerge as a guy that's fairly dependable as well. Echeverria, ball game, and the Marlins win it. They come out and beat Colorado in the first of 4. They do it with outstanding pitching and some timely hitting and some pop. Christian Yelich with a 2-run homer. Ichiro with a pinch hit. 2-run single by Giancarlo and an RBI double by Martin Prado. The win's going to go to Nick Whitgren, but Adam Conley pitched well enough. He deserved it. Kyle Barraclough, David Phelps, and Dustin McGowan in relief. High-speed replay from AT&T. How about Ichiro going from first to home on the Prado double?
He can still run. He gets around those bases pretty darn good.
So Ichiro now is just 20 away. The Marlins are back to 3 over at 35 and 32, and they slow down a red-hot Rocky team who had won 4 straight and 8 of their last 10.
We talk about the Rockies and their vaunted offense. The 1 hit tonight, first time since August 26th,